In fact, I want to thank, but sometimes I have to break protocol. Okay. Okay. Respected audience, everything. Okay. If there is any mistake, please pardon me. This is a debut maiden speech. Coming to subject straight away, India-China conflict. I have no PowerPoint presentation, just I'm presenting my views. India-China conflict, is it mired, mistrust by mistrust? Obviously, everyone knows that, yeah, it is full of mistrust. India-China relation is full of mistrust. First of all, China, the word China means, Chinese in the reference to strategic terms, China means, it doesn't mean people, Chinese culture, Chinese civilization. It means Chinese government. That's what I perceive. A Chinese military personnel and Chinese president. So it's a conflict between Chinese government and Indian people, because we are democracy. Yeah, communist or autocratic, what you can call it. This we have to keep in mind. And as we all know that Galwan Valley happened as June 15, 2020, and is very close to everyone. And they became the talk of the town. Yeah, ultimately, if you see the outcome, Chinese didn't gain much from the Galwan Valley clash. Then what is the intention? What is the outcome they have originally planned? Is zero. So the obvious thing is just to divert the attention from the troublesome matters of internal matters, and they are already suffering from that stigma of a coronavirus originator. So there's not much to bother about. This happens very frequently. Sometimes comes in the media, sometimes it doesn't come in the media. I'm not a military person. I'm not a veteran. I'm a student of defense and strategic studies. Just for it has gained a few kilometers in the Galwan Valley, but the cost is very high. It is not proportionate what it has gained for a few kilometers. It has lost trust, the faith of the international community of especially India. So it is they are going towards a very useless direction. Is what I can say. They are very confused. Normally we say the Chinese teaches us lesson, but now it's our turn to teach lesson to China. That is what when we were students, we are told Chinese, we have to learn lesson from China. China teaching lesson, but it is now it's other way around. The reason for mistrust, I can quote several reasons, but to sum up, presently I can blame President Xi Jinping, because as Shakespeare's the play says that all the world's a stage, and we are all actors, and I consider Xi Jinping as a great actor, greatest actor in international relations, because when he visited Chennai, Mamalapuram, by that time he must have known the design of Galwan Valley. So how he was hidden in these so much plans in his heart. That means he's a very great actor. But we too are deceived. We shouldn't have invited him, but that's all part of the game. I don't know what will happen. And you know what our External Affairs Minister, Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar, has to say. A couple of days ago, some journalists asked him what is the gain China is gained from the Galwan Valley. He said, I don't know. But what I remember Socrates, he was saying, no, I don't know anything. I know one thing, I know nothing. So even the foreign minister says, I don't know what is the reason. So this is kind of situation we have, confused situation, very complicated. We cannot, whatever the previous moderator has rightly said, we have to give a fresh perspective, and we are all producing and reproducing same thing. So I'm taking cue from the previous chairperson. There are more narratives saying that the Chinese are provoked by India's bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir to Union territories. And this, I'm not taking this stand. Take a fresh perspective, because India is not such capable of attacking China. Attacking China, it's not a threat to China, first of all. So that is ruled out. That is what common narrative says. So they were, that is not. So we are not a threat. We don't have any capability to attack China. So so we have to look into different dimension. And historically speaking, I blame United Kingdom of Great Britain, the former colonial masters, because we all know that we were ruled by British, and they left us 1947 after ruling more than 200 years. But I think still they are ruling us. This is what perspective. Still they are ruling us in the terms of continuation of the conflict. They left us. They partitioned, and they left us. Want deliberately in the mind that they have to suffer in the future with these all border conflicts. So that is why I charge them as a culprit in not properly delineating or demarcating the borders. Of course, they cannot do so accurately because of given the nature of terrain, but they could have done some kind of justice, but they wantonly did. That is what my perception. And second, I want to blame Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, former prime minister, first prime minister, because I charge him as, I accuse him that he totally lacked strategic culture, strategic thinking as a prime minister of India. He was supposed to have that kind of thinking, but he was totally ignorant of different needs, different requirements. Even though he has, you can say much. He's a genius. People say genius. I also agree. He's the author of Discovery of India. People say architect of India's foreign policy. So many credits he has. A Panchsheel, he's an instrumental Panchsheel, founding father of Nara, many things like that. But I consider he may be very good in other aspects. Subject of national security, defense and strategic studies, is totally failure. And that foundation, that fragile foundation, I think has contributed to the present mistrust, because he has committed many blunders, even in Jammu Kashmir, and even in the matter of China, because Chinese have been continuously violating the borders from 47. They are occupied by Xinjiang 49, for 50 they have occupied Tibet. We didn't raise anything other than writing letters and mere verbal condemnation. So this shows the lack of strategic culture. What George Tenham of America think tank, Rand Corporation, is the Indian lack strategic culture. But now it's a little bit we have changed. We are now in the arguing with the Chinese parity in the parity, in terms of parity, and we are now in the somehow. Same level as Chinese, not in the previous, like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And he was having a thinking that there was no need for defense forces or armed forces for India. He said police forces enough. So he neglected defense policy, diplomatic policy, foreign policy. So it was a total failure. But nobody is perfect. We have to learn from lessons from history. So the overall, this is the very dismal picture we had, and now nowadays totally situation is changing, and we have deployed more and more forces in the line of actual control. We know tanks, artillery, motors, air force element. We have air force are deployed at airfields and the line of actual control. So now Chinese are fearing Indian security forces, unlike in the past, and it's very difficult to deal with Chinese because they are basically revisionist state, like they have Middle Kingdom concept, whereas we have Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam kind of concept. So they are, Mao Zedong's 5 fingers, Nepal, Bhutan, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Ladakh. He says these 5 fingers belong to Chinese palm. So this kind of leaders, this kind of orientation really brings mistrust than trust. And to bring again trust in the India-China relation, I think we need to mentor China that you cannot continue with your double standard policy, like speakers are mentioning CPEC, China in Pakistan economic corridor, and also you cannot have friendship with India. You cannot have double standard policy like this. You cannot arms and give you cannot provide arms and money to our to our insurgents, to our enemies, and at the same time you cannot continue with a friendship. So this kind of double standardness have to be shed by our very most populous country, China. And I think we have to be very strong enough. We have to be very strong enough to give a message like that of 1962, and we are very aggressive kind of country as of now. And thank you for giving